Kimberly, and welcome to the Tickled Pink Events channel. If you're new here, I'm so excited that you decided to join me today. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Let's have some more cocktail fun. Before we get into the cocktails today, I'd like to remind you that if you haven't subscribed, please take a quick hot second to click the subscribe button. And if you really want to make sure that you are in the know the very moment I upload a video, you'll hit that notification bell, and that way you will be notified the very moment a new video hits YouTube. Now that I've done all that, let's get to cocktail time. Now, last week's video, I did an improved old fashioned, and in that video, I discussed the 6 root cocktail families. Every cocktail you've ever had is a variant on one of these 6 cocktail categories. And those cocktails are old fashions, martinis, sidecars, whiskey highballs, flips, and daiquiris. Yay! I've been working on memorizing it. I'm almost got it. So whatever cocktail you're drinking is going to be a variant of one of those 6. So there's really no new cocktail, just twist on those 6 root formulas. So today we're going to venture out of the old-fashioned family and move into the martini family. Now, I do love martinis. Nothing makes me feel more like sophisticated and elegant than ordering a beautifully made chilled martini at a fancy bar, or even just having one at home. I feel super like pinkies up when I'm drinking martinis. But the real thing about a martini is what makes it. And the formula for a martini is a base spirit and an aromatized wine. Now, commonly, as you well know by now, most martinis are either made with vodka, gin, and the aromatized wine is a vermouth. But you can make a martini out of any base spirits and different kinds of aromatized wines. For example, Manhattans are a martini, Negronis are a martini. My very favorite is a Vesper, which they swap out the vermouth with Lillet Blanc, which I love, and I'll talk about a little bit more about that later. And a Boulevardier is a martini. So if you've got a base spirit with aromatized wine, you've got a martini. The other thing that's really cool about martinis is it is the most flexible of the cocktail families. You can switch it up. Does not have such a rigid proportional formula, which means you can have more vermouth if you want it wet. You can have less vermouth if you want it dry. And in modern era, most people want a dry martini where you're basically just swishing it, the vermouth around the glass and throwing it out and serving someone a chilled glass of booze. But a traditional martini has like an ounce to an ounce and a half of vermouth. So what I love most about this varietal of cocktail is that it can truly be tailored to your taste. And just the slightest change to the formula will add a whole different flavor profile and take the cocktail in a different directions. Even down to the garnish you choose. If you choose a lemon twist, you're going to get a bright flavor of citrus and really refreshing in your martini. If you choose an olive, you're going to get that briny saltiness like in a dirty martini. Or you could choose a cocktail onion or a Cornish little cocktail pickle, and that's going to give you a savory vibe. So martinis really are a choose your own adventure. If you are one of those people who's never really liked martinis, maybe it's because you kind of haven't tailored it to your liking. So start playing around with it a little bit and find your perfect martini formula. There's a joke in the cocktail world that you can tell a lot about a person by the way they order the martini. If they want more vermouth and a lemon, they're a poet. If they want it dry with an olive or an onion, they probably work in finance or banking. So how you want your martini speaks a lot about you, and I'll tell you how I like mine in a bit. But that is the martini family. You can kind of make it your own. Also, I did talk about aromatized wine, so I wanted to give you a quick rundown on what that is. An aromatized wine is any wine that's fortified, that is seasoned with herbs, spices, and other natural flavorings. The aromatized wine I really like outside of a vermouth is the Lillet products, and that's a French fortified wine. It comes in Blanc, and now it comes in Rosé. It didn't always come in Rosé, but out of popular demand with the Rosé trend, we've got it back. So I like to use that, and the Vesper, as I mentioned earlier, subs the vermouth, the dry vermouth in most martinis for the Lillet Blanc, and it just makes the cocktail taste refreshing and cool, and it kind of reminds me of spa water. Like, it's very clean tasting. So now that we've discussed all of that, we can talk about the technique for making a martini. The technique you're going to use is stirring. You're going to stir it over ice. The stirring technique is mostly used for any cocktail that's served neat, and a cocktail neat is served without ice. So the stirring serves two functions. One, you're stirring to chill, and two, you're stirring to reach optimal dilution. Now this is a tricky master bartender skill, because if you stir too much, you have a watered down flavor. If you don't stir enough, the drink isn't properly chilled and you still have that intensity of the core spirit. Because remember, martinis only have about 2 to 3 ingredients, so you really need to use that dilution to simmer down the intensity of the base spirit. So you want to stir, and it also depends on your ice. So dilution, if you have poor quality small ice, it dilutes faster than it does like say bigger ice that's thicker and better quality. So basically the best way I've learned to know when to stir a cocktail is to kind of stir and taste it as you go. And then once you've hit that like, ooh, it's smooth, then go ahead and pour it up. And sometimes you'll stir beyond that and then you'll know, oh, I've stirred too much, but it's a good way to learn. So practice makes progress in getting your stirring technique, but it is worth it. And it's better than the shaking, because you can over dilute your martini by shaking. Even though I know people get really excited about those little thin ice crisps and all of that, it can over dilute if you shake with poor quality ice. So now I have the real reason I'm having this video. I did this whole video on martinis just because I could talk about one of my great passions and hobbies, and that's collecting cocktail glassware. I have so much cocktail glassware I can't even begin to tell you, and that's what I love about cocktailing, is all the different beautiful glasses you can serve every drink in, and how every cocktail has something that's unique to it to be served in. So what I'm going to tell you may shock you, so brace yourself. You might clutch your pearls. This is the absolute wrong glass to drink a martini out of. I know, it's iconic, it's even its own emoji on your phone for martini or for cocktail, but this glass is trash, and here's why I'm going to tell you it's trash. First of all, we've all been there. If you've ever ordered a martini or made one and someone's filled this up, have you seen someone walk across a room with a martini glass? Are they holding it daintily like this? They are not, because this V shape encourages sloshing and spilling. So most of the time you see people holding it like this or like this, because if not, it's going to be filled and spilling. And that brings me to the second problem with this glass. Holding like this encourages warming of the cocktail. So now, not only are you worried about spilling, you're now warming up what's supposed to be a beautifully chilled, elegant cocktail. So that's the second trash point. Also, look at the size of this. This will hold about 10 to 12 ounces. Well, don't get me wrong, I do like a good sized drink, but that's like 3 to 4 martinis worth of alcohol. So not only are you warming booze, you have so much of it, by the time you finish it, it's hot and there's a lot, and now you've overdone it. So this glass, it's heavy, it's clumsy, it's not functional. I know it's iconic for martinis, but I'm going to show you something better that will change your martini drinking experience for the better. Trust me, you will thank me later. Now, this beauty, this stunner, this is a Nick Nora glass. This glass was specifically designed and engineered to offer you an optimum martini drinking experience. Now, here's why. It has a curved, deep coupe right here, so you can hold the volume of the glass, but it's curved up, so there's not this blunt edge where you're going to spill, so it decreases spilling. It's a lot lighter, so you can hold it by the stem, so you never have to hold the bulb of the glass. You can always hold it by the stem, which ensures properly chilled cocktail. And if you look at the size, you see it's not a fish bowl. It holds a proper 3 to 4 ounce cocktail, which it also ensures that your drink will remain cold from start to finish, because you will be able to finish 3 to 4 ounces before the drink gets hot. Now, this is the part that made me super excited when I heard about Nick Nora glasses. They have this thin rim and are designed to, when you tilt the glass, the liquid will hit the midpoint of your tongue and palate without you ever having to tip your head, which means you can keep it super cute while you're drinking, pinkies up, without having to throw your head back to get the cocktail. Now, the Nick Nora glass is named for the hard drinking sleuth couple Nick and Nora from the novel The Thin Man that came out in 1934 and had a corresponding movie that came out that same year. I love this glass. It has changed the game for me in martinis. I drink every martini style drink out of it now, whether it be a Manhattan, a Rob Roy, a Vesper, a Dirty Martini. It's served in this glass, and it has changed the game for me. So now that we've talked about it, let's make a new and improved martini. I'll be right back with ice and we can get started. I'm back. I had to go and get my chilled glass because that's the other part of the technique of serving a martini cocktail. It should always be served in a chilled glass. Now, if your freezer is small and you don't have room to store glassware, which who does, you can always fill the glass with ice and water and let it sit while you stir the cocktail, and then just dump the ice water out and the glass is chilled. You always want this, since this cocktail is not served with ice, a chilled glass is key in making sure the drink remains nice and cold. Also, if the glass just came out of the dishwasher and it's hot, or say you've washed and it's hot, do not pour a cold cocktail in a hot glass. You're just going to ruin it. At the very least, you can serve it in a room temperature glass if all else fails, but please do not serve it in a hot glass. Always try to go for even the quickest chill. It will make the difference. So now that we're back, I have my pitcher of ice, which I wanted to make sure stay cold so we don't over dilute the drink while melted while I talk too much. And now we're going to make a Poet's Dream. A Poet's Dream is an improvement on a modern, actually a traditional martini. And why it's an improvement is they've backed off the dry vermouth, so it's less dry vermouth, but it has the addition of the herbaceous spirit Bénédictine. And the Bénédictine is going to bring nice herbal sort of floral flavor. And if you haven't tried Bénédictine, I highly recommend. It is a really good little liqueur that adds just a little cool flavor to any cocktail. It's like one of those things where like something tastes good, but I don't know what it is. Bénédictine is that ingredient. So it has Bénédictine, and then it has 2 dashes of orange bitters. So it's going to have a nice brightness with the citrus and a little layers of flavor with the Bénédictine, but it's going to be super easy to make. So let's get started. So we're going to do 2 ounces of Beefeater Gin, and the recipe did specifically call for Beefeater, so we're going to do that. And gin, the type of gin you use really does play a huge role in the flavor profile of any cocktail, because every gin is a little different. They all have a little different formula of the herbs they use, the proportions. So if you don't like one kind of gin, try some more, because there's all kinds of variants. There's London Dry, there's American gin, could go on and on. Maybe I will do a gin video for you next. So now we are going to do 3/4 of an ounce Bénédictine right over here. And then we're going to do 3/4 of an ounce dry vermouth. See, that's all the vermouth. And then 2 ounces orange bitters. Not 2 ounces, sorry. 2 dashes orange bitters. 1, 2. That would be a lot of bitters. That would be a bitter cocktail. Okay, so we've got all that. And we're going to stir. Now, I think I've demonstrated this before. The proper way to stir is to have this part of the spoon towards the back of your pitcher and then twirl. That ensures a proper, like, it spins without all that clunkiness. And I just do it a few times because this ice isn't great ice, so it will dilute quickly. But I do feel that it's chilled. And now I'm going to pour it into my waiting chilled coupe. Ah, it's so pretty. I like the beauty in this cocktail too. And look, the Nick Nora holds it perfectly. I did kind of overfill it, so it's going to be real cute me trying to lift this up to drink it in a minute. And they also called for me to express a lemon twist, and that's just going to release some oil. And it did say specifically, don't put the lemon twist in the glass, lay it on the side. Let's see if we can get it on the side. There we go. Oh, that one's falling in. I have another one. Magic of TV. I've got another one. We're just going to put that on the side. How cute is this? Now I did overfill it, so we're just going to be super careful. But this is a poet's dream. It's going to give me floral notes with the Bénédictine, a brightness with the citrus, and it's going to be very cool and refreshing. I've already tried this cocktail before, so I know it's good. Oh, it's really yummy. If you're not someone who just wants like a hard glass of cold booze, like just a straight gin martini or vodka, try some variations. I wanted this whole video to encourage you to go out and find your martini style. Play with the proportions, add more vermouth, add less, add salty elements or sweet. Really work on it. As long as you have the base formula of an aromatized wine and a spirit, you really can't go wrong. Couple splashes of bitters. Let me know in the comments below what your martini style is, what you like, or if you want to try one. I'm thankful that you joined me for today. If you liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next week for our next cocktail time. Have a great day, night, or whenever you're watching this video, everyone. Cheers!